Hello, and today we're doing Premier League predictions for match week number 36 of the 2020 to 21 season. It's a reduced week this week, just the 8 games, because there's 4 teams missing out due to the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Leicester City, and that will be predicted after this video, so make sure you tune in for that one. But today we are doing Premier League predictions. Before we get into things, we're going to react on how we got on in last week's absolute bonanza of games. Game week 35, so many matches to go through. So first of all, we had Leicester against Newcastle. I went with a 3-1 win to Leicester City, and we won't talk about it. Basically, it was a nightmare. We went with Castagna to score. He didn't do anything. Okay. And we went with a 3-1 Leicester win, and it was 4-2 to Newcastle. That is the Premier League for you people, full of surprises. We also went with a 2-0 Spurs win. We thought Kane would be on the score sheet. Instead, it was his partner in crime, Son Heung-min. But no, Tottenham go and lose to Leeds United. Wow, big upset. And Leeds, fair enough, they know what to do against the big six teams. Apart from that Manchester United game away from home. We won't talk about that. So no points for me there. Then we had Sheffield United 1, Palace 2, my prediction. But it was, of course, 2-0 to Crystal Palace. So no correct scoreline there, but at least a correct result. We went with Zaha to score, and it was Benteke instead. And of course, his seems like his second apprentice, trying to fill his shoes. It's Eberechi Eze, who's been, very skillful, very good recently, and a few long-range goals against Sheffield United in both fixtures. So yeah, just the 3 points there, but at least we're off and running. City 1, Chelsea 0. I think everyone was backing City to, finish off the title there at the Etihad versus the Blues. But no, Chelsea with a very good win to come back from 1-0 down. And, that's just kind of the ability that Chelsea do have in this squad, the kind of drive that Thomas Tuchel has installed in them. And at this point, he just knows how to beat Manchester City. So yeah, very good win. Goals from Hakim Ziyech, and of course that very jammy goal looping over Edison from Marcos Alonso. But Chelsea fans won't care a jot. Very good win, and not good for my predictions when I said a Chelsea blank going forward and a Zinchenko goal. I don't think he even played, did he? Anyway, Liverpool Southampton. I think everyone backed Liverpool because Southampton defensively have been quite leaky, and they did do it. I went with a 3-0. It was 2-0. And I predicted Sadio Mane to score once again against his former team. He likes to do that, and he did it. The first goal of the game. The second goal, a first in red for Thiago, and that was a lovely put away, just strokes it home, and confirms the win. So yeah, nice one there for the predictions. 3 points. We're up to 6. Liverpool game was good, but the Brighton game was not good. We went with a Adama Traore goal for the hosts, and he of course did get the ball in the back of the net, but it was a good win for Wolves actually, and Brighton really did, throw the game away. A red card for Lewis Dunk after scoring, and then right at the death in the end of the game when it's been blown for full time, just like that Manchester United penalty after full time, a red card after full time, and Neil Maupay was basically just having an absolute go at the referee and didn't exactly say the nicest words, shall we say. So red card for him there. After the game was finished. But yeah, not good for Brighton, and what a moment for Morgan Gibbs-White. He'd been frustrated in that Wolves team. He wasn't getting his chance, went out on loan to Swansea, has come back, and he's taken his chance with his first Premier League goal. Just very good finish, reacted well to the bouncing ball and stuck it in that top corner. So no points for us in the predictions. We remain on 6. Villa 1, Man United 2 is what we went with goals from Watkins and Greenwood. Well, one of those goal scorers was bang on once again. Greenwood is in amazing form. But Ollie Watkins actually ended up getting himself sent off. Yeah, not good at all. At least we got the correct result. 3 points once again. We're on to 9. But yeah, Watkins, what was he doing? The first one is a little bit silly. The second one, I don't think this is absolutely, clear and obvious for it to be a foul. For it to be a dive. It's not brilliant from Watkins. He maybe can stay on his feet, but Henderson does come in, and there is kind of contact in the fact that he's very much there. He's got his presence is on him, so he's expected the contact, and he's gone down. It's a bit harsh in my opinion, but fair enough if you disagree. But ultimately, yeah, we're on to 9 points there. And Cavani was the one that came off the bench to make that kind of scoreline not perfect. Once again, Cavani is just so lethal, and he has extended his contract now for another season. Fair enough, United will need that kind of goal scorer if they want to push for the title again next season. West Ham Everton, very good win we thought it would be for West Ham, who've been amazing at London Stadium. But no, Everton, once again on their travels, are so solid. They just need to sort out their form at Goodison Park. But yeah, they just really did do a job on West Ham, and they didn't exactly do an amazing performance with Everton, but they just really managed the game well, and at times frustrated West Ham. Jesse Lingard not getting a lot of the action, and Pickford once again with a good shutout. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin once again versus the Hammers, and no points for us in the predictions. We stay on 9 points. Arsenal 1, West Brom 0. I think everyone called this one the game that would, of course, send West Brom down, and they didn't look good in it, did they? Just conceding far too easily. And yeah, there were some good goals in there from the likes of Willian and Nicolas Pepe, but they still are a team really struggling, and their fate was sealed. But I went with an Odegaard goal, and in the West Ham game, we went with a brace from Jared Bowen, of course. He didn't actually do too much in the game. And then Fulham Burnley, we went with a 2-1 Fulham, just hopeful really for them. I was, seeing maybe they could push for the late stay up, but it was too unlikely. They just couldn't score enough goals. And Burnley got the 2-0 win, so no points for us in the predictions there. We remain on a total of 12 points. Saints against Palace, it was the kickoff, of course, on Tuesday night, and that was a game that you kind of thought maybe Saints would struggle because their home form has not been good, but fair enough, they actually did get the win, and Palace were quite leaky, and they really did change the game when that penalty was saved by Fraser Forster. Not a good one really from Luka Milivojevic, which is unlike him. He usually is quite efficient from the spot. So yeah, Crystal Palace fans will be gutted about that. Danny Ings back with a bang once again. He always seems to do well when he's back from injury, but it's certainly a very good night's work for him, and very good finish from Che Adams. He just slid in at the back post, and it's a good win for Crystal Palace. For Southampton. So no points for us there in the predictions, but United Leicester, we went with a 3-1 win, and we went with a Mitrovic and Westwood goal in the Fulham game, and of course Westwood did score, but Mitrovic didn't. So I'm getting a lot of these correct scorers. Ward-Prowse we went for in the Palace game, and he didn't do anything of note. Cavani, though, we also predicted in the Leicester game, but he was, of course, rested, and much of that Man United team rested, which, interesting, really, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A bit of a tactical battle there, in the fact that he played a weak team, and that gave Leicester City a chance to win the game, and, of course, crown Manchester City champions, which United wouldn't have wanted, but it does give Leicester that boost ahead of Liverpool, who, United don't like, and they want to deprive Liverpool of that Champions League spot. So that is an interesting one, especially ahead of that game they played with Liverpool on Thursday night. But yeah, that's the way it goes. And we didn't get any points in that really good Leicester win, and Soyuncu getting the goal to confirm City as champions. It had been coming for a long time. But what a moment, by the way, for Thomas. What a moment. His first goal for Leicester, and to get it at the Theatre of Dreams, it really doesn't get much better than that. And a very good finish as well at the back post. Chelsea-Arsenal, we went with a 1-0 Chelsea win. The right score, just the wrong way round. Rudiger to score, he didn't even play, wasn't in the squad. And Chelsea did struggle defensively. Jorginho had a howler, and I don't know what he was thinking there, but Kepa did well, actually, to keep it in. And then Aubameyang squared it for Smith Rowe, who just stroked it home in off the post. Very crisp finish. So that's a very good win for Arsenal, but not a good win for Chelsea in their bid for the Champions League. So, yeah, that is where we end things, basically, because Villa against Everton, I'll admit, hasn't actually happened yet, and United-Liverpool hasn't happened yet. So it's not ideal in terms of the Predictions League, but we'll try and update it if we can remember on the table, and we'll try and keep that screenshotted and ready for you on the thumbnail once those games have been finished. But how are we doing so far in the predictions? Well, we didn't get any points in those first 2 games, then 6 points from the next 3, then another 3 points in the next 2, so we're on to 9, then 12, and that is how we've ended it so far this week. So fingers crossed, some correct scores in the Everton and Liverpool games. We went for a Digne goal and a Sigurdsson pen in a 3-1 Everton win, and we went with a 1-1 between United and Liverpool, Rashford and Fabinho. Let's see if I'm right, but that is my predictions. And what has it done for the Predictions League? We will just hop on over to that. So bear with people whilst we get to that. But now what we're going to look at is how did the other comments in the video get on in game week 35, or what is, left of game week 35, what has already happened. So we also had Douglas predicting in the comments. Cheers for the comment, Douglas. We went with a 2-0 Leicester win. I'm afraid, like everyone else, that was wrong. Leicester was wrong. Then Spurs was wrong. Just predicted like me, 2-0 Spurs. 1-0 Palace, you went for, so 3 points there. You backed City to win, no points. You said a 2-1 Liverpool. So once again, that is a correct result. Not quite the correct score though. So therefore, you're up onto 6 points. And then the next game was Wolves-Brighton. A lot of people backing Brighton, to be fair, and it wasn't to be. Villa against United, you went with a 2-0 Man United win. So that is the correct goal difference. So fair play there. That does get you 5 points. You're on to 11. West Ham win, nope. Arsenal 2-0, and it was 3-1. So that's another correct goal difference. Fair play. That is impressive. You're on to 16. You went with a 2-0 Burnley win. I mean, what are the odds? Fair enough. Great correct scoreline. And yeah, that is impressive stuff. So that does put you, of course, on 24 now. You've easily beaten me this week. Palace game, no points. United game, no points. Chelsea game, no points. So what is a very, very good week, and it could even get better if those Villa and United games end 2-1 to the home side in both of them. So well done, Douglas. 24 points, I think I said. Yeah, very, very impressive, and definitely is starting to creep up on me, to be fair, in this Predictions League table. So let's get to that now, and let's see how it is looking. So after my very, very poor total of 12 points so far this week, that puts me on an overall score for the Predictions League of... So I'm on 663 now. So therefore, I will be on 675. That's right, 675 points in first position right now. But let me add on Douglas's points. How does that change things? Well, going into this week, you were on 640. And that is a very good score of 24. So 664. You've closed the gap big time, and I'm starting to feel the heat. That is just a very interesting point gap of 11. Well. Let's see how that goes. But let's move on to game week number 36. Let's see what happens this match week. It's going to be interesting. Less games, but there is, of course, the FA Cup to enjoy. So make sure you tune in for that one on BBC One at Wembley. So yeah, let's get into it, people, then, shall we? The first game to predict in game week 36 is between Leicester City and... Oh, sorry. No, it's not. Leicester have got the FA Cup. No, sorry. Before I go on, in third position in the Predictions League, we've got Jack with 56. And in fourth, still Nathan Healer. But Nathan, predict in the comments. Get in there, because you could still get points in fourth in 20 points total. So Newcastle against Man City. How do we see this one panning out? Well, it looks like a comfortable City win. I mean, it always seems, I remember this with Liverpool last season, that when you win a league, you kind of just forget about the games. You can't be bothered to play them. And fair enough, you'd understand it with all the, title celebrations, and you're probably a bit drunk at this point. But it's such a game that Newcastle surely can't get the win. Newcastle know that they've got nothing else to play for, because they've done what they needed to do. They've stayed up, and it's been thanks to, Alan St-Maximin and Wilson at times this season. But I don't see Newcastle scoring here. I think City have had a great defence, and despite who they play, they can get it. So I'll go with a solid Manchester City win, and we'll go for Newcastle United 0, Manchester City 2. And goal scorers here in the game between the Magpies and the Citizens. The newly crowned champions will get their first goal of the new era as champions, and that will come through Bernardo Silva. But the second goal for Manchester City, let's go for a strike from forward. That is Gabriel Jesus. All right, now it's the game between the teams Brighton and West Ham United. This is an interesting game. I've got to say, especially with Lewis Dunk out of the picture for Brighton, this could be a chance for the likes of Antonio, Bowen, Lingard, and of course Ben Rama, who really did impress a few weeks back against Burnley, to kind of wreak some havoc. And I think Brighton, they haven't had a great season, especially at home. They have struggled for wins, but that was a very good win recently against Leeds. And Danny Welbeck, he's scored against West Ham before in his Arsenal days. So he's going to be confident of some goals here. But I just feel this is the sort of game where we can see some goals from both teams. And I think West Ham have got the quality to win it. So we'll go for a good West Ham win. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. And the first goal of the game will be scored for me, in my opinion, by Brighton. And that goal, once again, it's Danny Welbeck. He's lethal. But the goal for West Ham, first of all, is going to be Jesse Lingard. The second for West Ham, I'm going to go for the forward, not Michail Antonio. Instead, well, he can play as a forward, but I don't know. Basically, it's... Odubeko. No, not Odubeko. He's not going to play, is he? So let's just choose another scorer. So we've got, first of all, it's the Brighton player that is Welbeck. Then we've got Lingard. The second goal, instead we're going to go for a midfielder. And that midfielder's name is Mark Noble. Hopefully he'll play just to kind of end his time at West Ham on a high. If it's not Mark Noble, then it most likely will be someone like, I don't know, Ben Rama. And then the third goal of the game for West Ham is going to be, again, Jesse Lingard. Jay Lings is back in town. All right, now we've got the game between Southampton and Fulham. This is another game where you'd say, all the games so far, in the end of the season they've got nothing to play for. So apart from the top 4 race, it's going to be quite dead. But that could make it more interesting. Teams can just express themselves, have a bit of fun, go for the games that they wouldn't usually if they had something to hold on to or something to push for. So it might make it a bit more interesting. And I think Fulham, they'll want to kind of end the season on a high. It's not been good from Scott Parker's team. They've not scored goals. And yeah, it just is the sort of game you see maybe goals going in the wrong end for this Fulham team at the St Mary's Stadium. Fulham have recently picked up in terms of defensive record, but it's just not been enough to stay up. And I think this might be a tough test for Fulham after Southampton's really good result versus Palace. Yeah, all right, the Liverpool game is always going to be tough for Southampton, but they did respond in kind. And I think that this is the kind of game, though it was a 0-0 draw in the reverse fixture on Boxing Day, I think this is going to be a bit more exciting. So let's say Southampton 1, Fulham 1, plenty of chances, but I think that Saints will get a draw here. And I think that the first goal of the game will come from James Ward-Prowse from the penalty spot once again. But the goal for Fulham, I'm going to go for midfielder that is, Josh Onoma. So that is 1-1 between those two. Alrighty, let's move on then quickly to the next game between Burnley and Leeds United. This is another interesting game. Burnley, of course, have done all they need to stay up, and it was a fantastic goal, you've got to say, from Chris Wood. The technique on that, and he's been in absolutely amazing form, the Kiwi from New Zealand. So you've got to give him all credit, Chris Wood. Congrats, mate. But is this going to be a kind of game that could be difficult for Burnley? Possibly. With Leeds, their attacking play is so attractive, and Burnley, it's not so much. So they could be really, thwarted by Leeds' counter on the break. Away from home, Leeds look quite a good side at times. But, I don't know, Burnley will make it difficult. They always do. And, Nick Pope's a very solid pair of hands, so he'll make it difficult for the likes of Patrick Bamford. But let's see what happens. I'm going to go for a Leeds United victory, and I'll say Burnley 0, Leeds United 2. And goal scorers here, once again, Stuart Dallas comes good for the Yorkshire club, and he will get a goal from a lovely header. But then the second goal for Leeds, Patrick Bamford. All right, let's move on to the second game or is it the third game? I don't know. The first game, actually, I think it is from Sunday's fixtures, Palace against Aston Villa. Now, Villa are coming off the back of that matchup at Villa Park with Everton. And, this is the kind of game they look at and think, come on, they've got to be beating Palace. But Palace, against Sheffield United, they were always expected to win. It's just against those teams around them, when I say around them, I mean like mid-table, they just haven't been doing that well. And, yeah, they've got a few decent results this season, but it's just not been a great season from Palace. They have, struggled for a bit of, superstars, and they just haven't really got the results this season. So they need to really push on next season. But this is the kind of game I can see Villa winning just because they are strong at times this season. And, Ollie Watkins has been on fire. So I'm going to go for a Villa win. But I'm going to imagine it will be a tight game because Palace, they always like to make it quite interesting at Selhurst Park. So Crystal Palace 0, Aston Villa 1. And I think that the only goal scorer of the game here for the Villains will come from none other than, no, not Emi Martinez. I'm not that stupid. Instead, it's going to be Bertrand Traore. He scored a goal versus United. He'll do it again versus Palace. And now it's the game between Spurs and Wolves. And this is a favourable game, you'd imagine, for Spurs. But they have, so to speak, messed a few up this season in games you'd expect them to win against the likes of, Liverpool. Actually, no, not that's harsh. What was the other one? Is it West Brom? I'm trying to think now which game they dropped points. Fulham, I remember that one. And they also messed up the game with Newcastle. That was it. Newcastle away from home. But at home, you'd say Fulham are probably... Tottenham are a bit more confident. They have scored a lot of goals at home. And, Kane and Son, they've been amazing this season. There's no denying that. So I think Spurs will get the win here. But Wolves will score. Or will they? Will they score? I think Wolves, they haven't really had a threat this season without Raul Jimenez. Let's go for a clean sheet win. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. And goal scorers here, first of all, Son Heung-min. The second goal, a defender, let's say Sergio Reguilon. And the third goal, Harry Kane. So 3-0 to the Spurs. And finally, we have the couple of games left. West Brom, Liverpool. This is going to be a game you'd imagine Liverpool will win, but you never know. West Brom, now that they're down, they can just try and show some pride, try and see what they can do, really. And, they got a very good point at Anfield in the reverse fixture. I'll always remember that absolutely iconic goal from Semi Ajayi to, crush Liverpool hearts. But can Liverpool make it a lot easier here? We saw earlier on in the season, Manchester City absolutely slice West Brom apart at the Hawthorns, and it has been their home form, which has not been ideal for West Brom. I mean, it's been their form in general, to be honest, but I do fancy Liverpool here, and I'm going to say Liverpool get a clean sheet as well. West Bromwich Albion 0, Liverpool 2. And I actually think both goals will come from defenders. It's a bit of a bold move, but I think, first of all, to get his first goal, I think, for Liverpool, Nat Phillips, who's been in the side recently, playing some really good performances, and, crucially for Liverpool, putting that shift in that centre-back spot with Fabinho playing a bit further forward, which allows the likes of Trent and Robertson to get forward. And talking of Trent, I think he'll get the second goal of the game in this one. So that is 2-0 to the Reds. And finally, it's Everton against Sheffield United. This is the kind of game I can see a comfortable Everton win, but they have struggled against teams smaller than them and at teams against them at Goodison. So, yeah, it's a kind of banana peel you could imagine. Sheffield United have, got nothing else to play for. They've got a few, one-off wins against the likes of Brighton and, Aston Villa and a range of sides. But I'm still backing Everton. I think that surely they're going to get the result done. But, Everton can sometimes be quite nervy. So we'll go with 1-0 to Everton. And the only goal comes from a free kick from Lucas Digne. And that wraps up my predictions for match day number 36 of the Premier League. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. And before we do anything, let me tell you the theme of the week this week is The Cat and the Fiddle. And what is the song of the week? It is by a very good song. The song is not The Person. What am I on about? No. Instead, the song is called Dynamite. It's by BTS, the K-pop band. And I've got to be honest, they're not my favourite, but this is a bit of a banger. You got to admit it. And what is the colour of the week this week? It's going to be orange. Orange for the fruit. And that wraps up my predictions. Thanks for watching. This has been a good one. And get yours down below and we'll shout out the best ones. It's 3 points for the result, 5 for the result and the goal difference, and 8 for the scoreline.